I've been running an online software development company for 3 years, and I've been recording every day for the better part of the last year. Today, my dog died, and I'm gonna just, I don't know, I spent a lot of the day, I mean, it was out of the blue. There's no development, there was no disease. She was healthy, she was, otherwise fine. She's not particularly old, she's kind of middle-aged, a little bit older, but maybe 9 years or so. She was a rescue and stuff, and I don't know, it was like, it definitely triggered some really interesting reflections and just thoughts about the impermanence of things. Like, I want to build this business, I want to build a lot of things, and I literally yesterday I was thinking about how I want to work more, and I find myself very often balancing this dichotomy of like, thus far I have done a lot of things that have made my life richer in experiences. Over the past 3 years, I have grown, and I've more than doubled the business every single year since the first year, but I have always wanted more. I've felt a strong sense of impatience. However, during those past 2 years, I will say, I mean, one of the reasons, not the only one, but one of the reasons why I didn't grow as much as I wanted, was because I did other things, like I traveled a lot. Up until recently, when I moved to London. Before that, for the previous 2 years, I hadn't spent more than 2 months consecutively in one city. I was constantly traveling all over the place. Some for work, some for personal, but it was enriching in life and things, and I found myself like trying to dial that down and really kind of work more, because I realized that volume is a big part of what's stopping me right now. And at the same time, though, I think it's really important to figure out what are the things which enrich your life the most, and how can you marry, the work and the life aspect, because I don't know, I think it was really just, this is contrasting with the death of my grandmother, which happened 2 years ago now, just a little over 2 years ago. Because I was in Portugal at the time. I was still working at my company. I was working from home, and I spent the last few months, like the rest of my family wasn't really there. It was my grandparents and me, for the most part. Obviously, my family came and went, but she faded really slowly. What I mean by that is, like, I watched her condition deteriorate over time. Whereas this was the complete opposite. There was no warning. There was not the minimum, like literally, I wasn't there when my dog died. Specifically, I drove over right after. But my family members were there, and what they told me is like, she went out, she went for a walk completely fine. She was pulling, the leash as usual. She ate her breakfast. She was completely fine. And then she stopped, and she kind of like sat down and then collapsed on the floor and was unresponsive. Like, she tried to move her legs a little bit more, and then that was it. And then she stopped breathing, and we're talking, 30 seconds and you're out. And I was like, I don't know. Anything can be taken at any time. Every single day, life will roll you a bunch of dice. And the older you get, the more dice you get rolled. And one day it just, you get unlucky, and that's that. And that can happen at any time. You can get hit by a bus. You might get some disease. Like, the possibility is never zero. Nothing is guaranteed. And I don't know. I think it's like it's really worthwhile to figure out how you can make the journey enjoyable, because that's the only thing you really have. The destination doesn't really exist in reality. Like, if you get to a destination and you stop, I think you'll find that it's actually pretty shit. Like, what I mean by that is, like, if you take people who want to retire by, like, 30 and have riches, it's like, if that's really your destination, like, just imagine you get it now, okay? You get millions of dollars, you get to do whatever you want. Now sit, in your home and don't do it. It's like, that's not really worth it. I think what's worthwhile is to find work that's meaningful, and to put a lot of, like, I think there's a satisfaction in working a lot. I think that's the thing that I'm after. And in between that, I think you should, make the most of every moment. Like, I think the biggest waste of time are just dead time. Places like things, when you're scrolling on your phone, it's like you're not working, but you're not really making the most out of an experience. You're not juicing life for as much as it has, I think. I think this life philosophy is something that I subscribe to a lot. And maybe other people do too. But I think it's a pretty cool way to see the world. One that has served me, at least. Like, for me, I enjoy traveling, but I've also realized that too much I don't. Like, I don't enjoy it when I don't feel like I can work. I've realized I also really enjoy some level of stability and routine. I've realized the amount of social interaction that I want or don't, like controlling for all of these things, I think it's really powerful. Like, not controlling is the wrong word. I mean, learning about all these things on a personal level. Like, what does the perfect random Tuesday look for you? I think this is something I've talked about in previous videos, but I think that's like what you want to figure out is, given no constraints around money, around time, around location, whatever, what does a random Tuesday look like for you? Like, just in ideal conditions, because I think for me, it certainly includes work. It includes work, a few people that are important, maybe even just one or two. Like, I don't really have a big need for social life stuff. Just like, I like certain people and just hang out with them, and then hang out with some other people every once in a while, and then every once in a while travel a little bit. I don't need loads of it, but I don't know. I think I enjoy that, and like figuring out how to enjoy that is, in my opinion, really worthwhile, because if you're going to spend so much time on the journey toward your destination, like, it's going to be a long road. If you want to do something big, it's going to take a while. And so if you can make that thing enjoyable, man, I think at the end, it's so much more rewarding, because it's like you got this big thing without selling your soul along the way. That's pretty cool, and that's worthwhile. That is what I think is worthwhile. Just like, I think people nowadays see money as a personality trait. Like, being rich is not a personality trait. It really isn't. And there, I don't know. I think those people are very empty in a lot of ways. And if there's one thing that, it's ironic, because today was all about kind of impermanence. Things can go at any moment. But I think, if anything, it just reinforces this theme of like patience, because it's ultimately, at the end of the day, it's about figuring out a journey that you can stay on for a very long time. And if you go randomly, if I die tomorrow, like, I'm happy with what I managed to do. Like, yeah, it kind of sucks that I couldn't go any further, but I fundamentally, like, I don't regret, that I didn't do this or do that, or, any major life things. Generally, I don't have those, like, big regrets and things like that. I don't, like, I don't want to be some guy who's, in my 30s and essentially have done really well for myself and became rich and business successful. But like, I look at it and I'm like, oh, I sold my soul in my 20s, and I never made anything of it. I never made memories, because you can never get those back. And I think, like, being able to tread that line is really important. And if you're more patient, I think you can tread it better. And actually, I think in being more patient, it doesn't mean that you take longer to get to the results. Like, I really don't believe that. I think it actually lets you act with a more clear, like, when you're less impatient, you will just take more of the right actions. I think impatience leads to the wrong actions and more unhappiness in the moment. And I think it's just a double whammy. It's like one of the most important things as a young person. One of the most important things that you can get rid of is your own natural impatience. If you're anything, ambitious, and you're anything like me, you probably struggle with that kind of impatience. And yeah. So anyway, those have been some things that have been on my mind. So the morning was taken up by this whole ordeal. I got back to the hotel, and then I've just been. I went for a workout. I did a little bit of work. I updated some spreadsheets. I looked into some data stuff with Google Looker Studio and whatnot. So that's pretty much it. I need to concentrate a little bit more on things and just get some more focused work done. Like in general across the board. I think that's something I haven't been doing loads of, and it's bothering me a little bit. It's like stressing me out, and I know that leaves me unhappy. So I want to fix that. So that's that. I'm gonna leave it at that for today. It's a little bit of a ramble, a little bit of a rant, but the purpose is to document my thoughts throughout me building this entire thing. So that's gonna be it for today. Do comment if you have any questions. I will try and read those and make videos on it if there are any good questions.